completed in 12 to 24 months. UNT, a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
This is the Dallas Cowboys Pepsi postgame show. Pepsi, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, here's Zach Wolchuk and Bryan Broaddus.
Cowboys down 10. Prescott back. Fires in the right flat for Williams. Hit immediately and brought down. Ball came out. There's a pile up, and the Cardinals appear to have it. Oh, I thought forward progress had stopped, but they never blew a whistle. Cardinals have recovered a fumble with 4:34 to go.
One of three Cowboy turnovers in a 27-17 loss. Monday night embarrassment here at AT&T Stadium. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus says the Cowboys fall ahead of their bye week and a day before the NFL trade deadline. They're now 3-5-1. Arizona improving to 3-5 as the Cardinals continue to have the Cowboys number, and this one really went south after the opening drive of the game. Cowboys went right down the field. Things were looking good, and we talked about this at the half. They decided to go for it on 4th and goal at the Arizona 4. Dak gets sacked, and from that point on, it was really all Arizona. A couple of bright moments. Sam Williams had the punt block that Marshawn Nealon was able to fall on in the end zone, and you thought maybe a 68-yard field goal try for Aubrey to make it 17-10. He missed that. Arizona, and this was so disheartening, Bryan, they came right out of the half.
Yeah.
You need a stop. And no resistance. 3 plays, 74 yards in 2 minutes and 12 seconds. The first play of the second half, a 50-yard pass. Jacoby Brissett finds Michael Wilson, and that was it. I mean, it's 24-7. Cowboys get a field goal. Arizona answers right back. Cowboys turn it over. They get a Ryan Flournoy touchdown, their first offensive points of the game in the fourth quarter, 27-17, but then a fumble as they were looking to try and drive from Javonte Williams there. Really kind of messed any comeback opportunities, but a lot of bad to go around, from the defense to the offense. I don't know which side of the ball disappointed you more tonight.
Well, I felt like going into the game, there was going to be some problems with the offense moving the football. You know, with Arizona's ability to play the run, we talked about it coming into the week, 4.2 yards. Inside run was 2.7. You know, you had some decent runs with Williams there, but then you were chasing the game a little bit, so you couldn't really stay with it. Maybe after the first drive, you could have come back. You had, the passes. You just kept throwing the ball, and they're not going to give you anything. They're going to play that cover 4. They're going to play their safeties deep. They're going to play their corners. Give them some credit. Their secondary played so much better than what yours. I've never seen Deron Bland play this poor in my life.
No, me either.
And he looks like a complete shell of himself. They're telling us, though, he's better on the outside. Boy, whew, if that's better on the outside, then I'm not a very good evaluator. But, unfortunate for your football team. You need to find a way to win this game. You wanted to get into the bye 4-1. Then kind of get yourself together, get some players back, go to Vegas, find a way to win that game, and then now you maybe build a little momentum. But you're not a very good football team, and you become not a very good football team too on the offensive side of things as well. And you give up 5 sacks to a team that really doesn't rush the passer all that great. So that was a big problem. Whether it was the offensive line, whether it was Dak Prescott. I did know some, with Williams. I thought he had some really good blitz pickups that I saw there, some physical stuff, but. I mean, it's when you play defense the way that they do, and just give up massive chunk yard plays, third downs, and then the turnovers, and it's just the old Bill Parcells. I think you are who you are right now, and you're not a very good football team as the calendar turns to November.
Postgame show brought to you by Pepsi, made for Cowboys watching. If you want to use with the pros, use Jack Black. Is the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit getjackblack.com today as we are live here at AT&T Stadium, Miller Lite Field Club here. Zach Wolchuk alongside Bryan Broaddus. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text, 877-881-1053. And look, you're going into your bye week here, Bryan, and I don't really say this lightly, but you got to make some type of change.
At the coordinator spot? I'd say the offensive coordinator wasn't very good today either.
No, and you're right. You felt like the one thing that you could hold. That's why I asked which side of the ball was more disappointing.
Yeah.
Because I think that defensively you kind of
you know what the defense is.
But I did not think that the Cowboys would have 17 points against this Arizona defense.
No, not at all. But listen, hey,
and really 7. Really 7 on offense because you got the block punt.
Yeah, you did. You were bad in the red zone. I think the coordinator, like I say, I mean the head coach who's the play caller, I just don't think he had it tonight. And he's had some days where he's been really, really good and been sharp, and I just don't think he had it. His team, I mentioned the sacks, the way that Arizona was able to cover some on the outside. They just didn't give up the massive plays like Dallas did.
Oh, man, it felt like chunk plays left and right.
And every time it was like, it was a third and 12,
and 14,
third and 15, whatever. You get a sack, and then the very next play, you go up 17 yards. It's just. But I think the offense. If the offense plays poorly,
they have no shot.
They really have no shot in these games now.
And it was very lifeless. You had the Boo Birds out here at AT&T Stadium. I mean, look, the team is. It's talent deficient. We've talked about that on the defensive side of the football.
Very talent
You're just not good enough, and they did make changes where Bridges sits, and they put Kalen Carson in. People were like, well, where's Kalen Carson? They try this. You're right, Bland looks like a shell of himself. He doesn't
not even close.
Tyre Elam, we already knew. I thought the one bright spot, Donovan Ezeraku continues to be good.
We talked about that.
Kenny Clark. Osa Digizua had 4 quarterback hits tonight, which was a bit shocking to go and look at when it came to the stats.
Brad Shan was talking to Brian Schottenheimer before the game, and he felt like that Osa Digizua was going to have a good game today. He felt like there was a matchup that they were going to be able to win inside, and there was, but it's just not enough. It's just it's the old one step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah.
You get a sack, you get a pressure, you get something good.
You get a win on first down, on second down.
And you can't even rely on getting off the field on 3rd and 14, 3rd and 17. It's hard to watch, but man, it's even harder to watch on every time that you punt on offense, or every time that you go out on downs. It's just one step closer to losing the game. If you think, they just can't. And I'm sorry, it's the way it is. But this offense is really the thing that has to carry you, because Brad and Babe will say this. Ed Jones and Harvey Martin and Darren Woodson and those guys aren't going to come walking through that door anymore. It's just not. You are who you are on defense, and unfortunately, offense. If they have a bad night or a poor night, and the head coach has a poor night calling plays, then they're going to be in games where they're going to lose 27-17.
Yeah, it's just not a very well put together team.
No, not at all.
Defensively, it's bad. Terrence Steele, and what's tough is when they try. We get on them for the contract stuff.
Yeah,
they wait. And then they get ahead of it on a player like Deron Bland.
Right.
They get ahead of it on a player like Terrence Steele. Even Diggs, right, who's not playing and is hurt right now. And I mentioned this last year. Even when those – and Jake Ferguson, I think, has been good for the most – he's been great this year. And maybe some you'll roll your eyes and say, well, great. No, but he's been good this year. Tonight he has the fumble. But even –
Williams had a fumble, too, in a key situation.
They had 3 total.
Yeah.
But even the return on those investments, like Osa Digizua this year, hasn't looked like the same guy. When they end up getting ahead on a contract even, those players don't end up performing up to what they were thinking they were paying for.
Right.
So, we've talked in post-game shows this year, the drafting on the defensive side of the ball, the coordinator turnover. You wait on contracts for CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, and you end up paying more. When they get ahead of it, now you're like, well, why the heck did I even pay this guy? They're not out there playing. So it's almost like everything they're doing right now, it doesn't feel like the right thing, and you're looking up now and you got a 3-5-1 football team that is embarrassing themselves at home on Monday Night Football, and you're going into a bye week and you're searching for answers.
Yeah, that's it's just unfortunate that it's come to this where some of these contracts are, and you're right, they get ahead on some of them, and you feel like, wow, that they got a good value for that, and then all of a sudden it's that player's performance. I honestly I don't know what. Usually you could say, oh, somebody's hurt, and when you look at Bland and all that, I don't think so. I just think that he is one of those guys that for his first 2, 3, 4 years of his career was a good player, and maybe he benefited from a Micah Parsons rush, or maybe he benefited from other things. But the way that they're playing right now, playing this scheme. It's just they're not even playing it the right way. Whether they're man players, zone player, whatever they are just not. And Flus, and he has to take some of the blame too on this.
Oh, of course.
But it is your third coordinator. It's a mixed match team. I think Will McClay has done some really good things of trying to kind of put some things together for his coaches. But you clearly have players that are not responding well enough, and I would include Diggs. I know Diggs hasn't been playing here the last couple of weeks.
No.
But I would say that maybe Diggs, where's that buy-in? I think there's a lot of guys out there right now that are like looking at this like, really, where's the buy-in?
You get the hot mic that picks up Arizona saying this is too bleeping easy.
And Arizona, Marvin Harrison hadn't had a day like this since he's been in the league. It's 2 years.
They couldn't run the football.
No.
They run the football tonight.
Good. But you knew Jacoby Brissett playing in this game could have been a problem.
Yeah.
He could have absolutely been a problem. I think for the most part he was a problem tonight.
Well, it's sad because right now you feel like whoever you're playing against, it could be the third-string quarterback, and they could possibly have a career. That's kind of where you're at right now with this defense. They are going to be the magic elixir to make everybody look good. And that's a massive problem. But the way that they came out in the second half and 3 plays without any pushback, it's a massive drive.
Needed to get a stop.
It's a massive drive. Yeah. And they just, here you go. Go on. Go on. Just go score. That's a problem. That, to me, is we probably need to fire somebody.
Well, you're probably not going to do that. But which, you have to think about, though, like I said, to me, you're focusing on the defense.
I think the offense.
I'm just saying, and I'm just saying.
Both sides were bad, and the offense today was, I think, probably worse.
Absolutely. I think that
you get two times, you get into the 10, inside the 10, you crap your pants.
We know what the defense is. We know the defense isn't good enough. We know that. But, you've got your quarterback who for the first 6 games of the season was playing at an MVP level.
Yeah.
Last couple, we haven't been that good.
No, and the pressure was on him tonight.
Yeah,
but there were also some throws. When I thought that fourth down to CeeDee's open. Yeah. He throws the ball high. Yeah. It's now a contested catch. CeeDee's not able to bring it down. That's a turnover on downs. He certainly was not crisp tonight.
No.
And outside of that, after the first drive, the offense just never looked the same. It was out of rhythm. They were trying. They were able to hit a couple of first down strikes with Pickens. There were moments they got going. The Pickens penalty was a bad one as well. The taunting call, the NFL certainly is making a push for that this year. But it's tonight. Look, I don't know how good Arizona is. We've discussed how they've lost close games and they've been competitive. But you looked like a bad team tonight. And I know we're going to have a ton of trade chatter. That was all that was going on before pregame. I don't know that anything – I've said this the whole time. I don't think this changes anything. I think they're still making a deal. They've already got one that's supposedly done. We'll find out tomorrow what that is. But, again, when you're 3-5-1 and now you feel like the fan base is quitting on you, I think Jerry stirs it up. He's going to stir it up. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. Let's hit the phones. Let you go ahead and vent here. We'll start off with Jerry in Bakersfield, California. Jerry, what's going on?
What's going on, man? Hey, I just got one question. That 4th and 4, I don't understand why they're just running downfield 20 yards. Like, you're all you need is 4 yards, and that play call was just horrendous. And I completely agree, like, what's going on with DaRon Bland? We paid him all this money, and he is just getting cooked by Marvin Harrison Jr. on national television. But, yeah, that's all I got, fellas. Thank you.
Yeah, it's, it looks like somebody is an imposter in a 26 jersey. Now, DaRon Bland was really good a couple weeks ago against Washington, but last night, or today, certainly, it was awful. I mean, at first I'm thinking it's Bridges, and then it doesn't really matter. I mean, everybody's giving up big plays, but it is very concerning. Because and Bland was coming in and out of the games. Christie said at one point he had a shoulder injury.
Sure.
But he does look like an absolute shell of the player we're accustomed to seeing. Even the tackling, like usually DaRon Bland, I think, is one of the more physical players in your secondary. There was a play along the sideline where he just gets juked out of his shoes. I mean,
the touchdown.
And then he falls down on the touchdown.
Yeah, he fell on the touchdown,
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. And we'll see. A lot of people texted in about, it does start with the front office. And I get that.
It totally does. It totally does. I mean, they're the ones that you have to think about how the team is constructed, and it starts with the general manager and the player personnel guy, and then it goes down to the coaches, because the coaches do have a big say in what goes on around here too. When it comes to that personnel stuff.
Bryan Schottenheimer taking to the podium now. We'll get to hear from Schotty a little bit later on in the postgame show. All right, let's get another call in here as we continue here from the Miller Lite Field Club. We've got Charlie. Oh, what's going on, Charlie? How are you in New Mexico?
Hey guys. I'm just telling you, when you watch this team, not only are they just physically not talented at all over the field, they're a bunch of mental midgets. I mean, how many times have our drives been stalled? When we get a first down on third down, there's a penalty. Mm-hmm. When we stop a team on third down, there's a defensive penalty. There's this, there's that. This defense is beyond awful. You watch Arizona's defense, where they're tackling, the way they're hitting, the way they're covering. That's a defense that's been coached. That's a defense that has a little bit of talent. This team has no talent, or either of these people just don't care. I've been watching football over 50 years. I have never seen a non-competitive defense in the NFL like this. Yeah. It drives me crazy to watch it. Yeah. And Shotty had a bad day today. He had a bad day. Offensive line had a bad day. And, of course, the defense had bad days every Sunday, Monday, or whenever they're playing. And I just don't know what this team's going to do. And I don't know what a trade's going to do, because this defense just looks incompetent.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Charlie, and it does. It really does. I had a couple people ask me, like, is this one of the worst Cowboy teams that you've watched? I mean, defensively, we've seen some bad ones.
Oh, we've seen some bad
2020 was bad, but, man, you don't want to be prisoner of the moment, but the lack of compete, like the lack of will to stop the opposition, and they got some pressure tonight, but the secondary, these players get paid, but you don't have NFL caliber players right now at safety and corner.
Well, you've got some guys too, and I look at the defense. If you just look at the stat sheet, it says DaRon Bland had 14 total tackles. They went after his ass tonight.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, and they went after Marquise Bell too. He's the next guy with 8 tackles. You could just see by the numbers of who had the tackles who Arizona went after.
They were picking on.
Yeah, they were picking on. And Bell doesn't look like himself. He's not the same player that Dan Quinn had down there playing in the, he doesn't play well in space. He misses tackles. It's unfortunate they put him in coverage. There were a couple times, there was a couple times where they put him in coverage on McBride, and that was a problem. And then, I know Babe Laufenberg and I had this discussion, like, would you put Bland on coverage? And there were a couple times where Bland was in coverage against McBride, and he made some plays. So yeah, it's just to me, there's no fix, and if you're making trades, maybe it'll help you. All I was asking is make a trade to get a player or two that could get you off the field 2 more times a game. That's all I was saying. But that thought was because your offense was rolling along right now.
Right, and now you've got back to back.
And now you have something. These teams, you played these teams with odd fronts. Mm-hmm. These 3-4 teams. Look at the 3-4 teams you've lost again. You lost Carolina, 3-4 front.
Right.
Denver, 3-4 front. This team, 3-4 front. There's something going on. There's something going on when they play these odd man fronts. That has been a problem.
All right, we will get Brad Sham. We'll hear from Brian Schottenheimer, Dak Prescott, a lot more. Your calls and texts. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Crown Royal and the Dallas Cowboys are bringing back the Royal Rig for Season 2. See it in action at AT&T Stadium on Thanksgiving Day, where the Dallas Cowboys take on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Connecting changes everything. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. WinStar World Casino and Resort, proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
First down and goal, the Cardinals at the 3 with a 3-0 lead. Early second quarter, Jacoby Brissett under center, pulls it back, throws it in the end zone, a slant, wide open Harrison. The defender fell down, Bland, And that's about as easy a pitch and catch as Harrison will ever see, and it's touchdown Cardinal.
Very easy, as Marvin Harrison Jr. 7 for 96 in a touchdown. That one from Jacoby Brissett, finished with 261 and a couple of touchdowns as well. We'll hear from Bryan Schottenheimer, Jerry Jones, and Dak coming up shortly. The official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys brought to you by AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus live from the Miller Lite Field Club. Joined now by our Cowboys insider Bobby Belt. Bobby, I know you were in that scrum there with Jerry. What were your takeaways?
I mean, he's not happy. And I know
neither is his fan base.
No, they're not, and he knows that, and he was talking about that. That was one of the first things he said. But like, for instance, I think everybody, especially Bryan, you've been around it long enough and sat in meetings with him. There's a little bit of a theatrical Jerry that likes to play up being mad and keep you on your toes, and then there's Jerry when he's really mad and he's really frustrated. This he was mad tonight, and I think he's trying to conceal how upset he was. He was the first one in the locker. He was not in the mass of players. He was in there before the players were. And when he came out, he was pretty to the point and ready to go. And got asked, would you consider making any changes at the bye week in terms of your coaching staff? He said, I'm not going to discuss any of that right now. I'm not answering that right now. And so he didn't want to comment on that. Normally he shuts that down. He sounded pretty. I mean, he's been frustrated with the defense. He sounded pretty frustrated with the offense tonight.
He should be.
That he felt like the offense was supposed to be better than that, and they were supposed to be more competitive than that.
Yeah.
He did say he said I can't lie. When I found out we weren't going against number one Kyler Murray, I was feeling like, all right, we're going to have a better shot tonight. I liked how we got after him a little bit.
That just shows you didn't watch tape.
And so I think that he was frustrated, and nobody. I know the fan text will right now light up and go, I don't want to hear it. That's fine. You don't have to hear it. I'm just telling you, he was frustrated. He's not just sitting there twiddling something. He's mad.
Yeah, well, but listen, they all should look at themselves. Mm-hmm. They should all look at themselves for the shape that they're in right now.
Sure.
And if their offense plays poorly, they're not going to win games. But he's going to go try and make a trade, going to go try and help his defense, probably going to add a defensive end, probably going to try and add a linebacker. And he's going to see, hey, I hope in getting Overshown back, and maybe all of a sudden you figure out that, wow, we could play with Ravel and stuff. They're going to try and do some things to pull this thing out of the gutter. But if it's really about this offense, I mean, Brad says it during the broadcast. They got to score 5 times. They really do. And if they punt or have a turnover or turnover on downs, that's one step closer to the L.
I think it's the troubling thing for me is the last 2 weeks. It feels like maybe defenses have been given the book on Dallas a little.
Yes.
Just the idea.
You think it's the odd man fronts they're playing?
No, I think a lot of it, what it's about, let's try to beat them up as much as we can. Let's try to just play as physical a style of defense as we can. And I think they realize, you know what? We may be getting burned anyway. Let's try to bring some pressure. And let's try to get in their face. And let's try to make Dak be all world at getting rid of the football, because they've got some vulnerabilities on the offensive line. Terrence Steele was really, really
rough night.
Not good tonight. That's something where you always have to go back and watch the tape to really know how an offensive lineman played. But there were a lot of times where it felt like he was the one turning around, picking Dak up, or he was the one turning around.
12 minutes to go in the fourth, they put time, and then at the end, what happened? Thomas gave up a sack too. Mm-hmm. So I mean, hey, just take a number. That's what it is.
And the thing, the first several weeks was the offense, and Dak specifically was playing at such a high level that you were able to stay competitive in a lot of these games where the defense wasn't, holding up their end of the bargain. That's right now not happening. The last 2 weeks, the offense is not playing at an otherworldly level to keep you in some of these games.
When it comes to overall shoddy in the play calling, did you like the aggressive? We were calling for it all week. You got to be aggressive going for it on fourth down.
Yeah.
I didn't have an issue with that necessarily. Maybe you can question the play calls here and there if you want to. But, when it comes to the book, is it you think some of the tendencies, some of the things that the Cowboys do well maybe that's what the league that they've caught up to now that you have kind of half a season of tape on the offense.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's more just a style of play that the league is finding they struggle with, or that you can neutralize them a little bit at times, which is, they are so good at winning their routes typically. If you give them any amount of time to give Dak any amount of time to get through his progressions, then he's going to be able to find something that he needs.
Right.
And so I think right now their biggest priority the last 2 weeks of these defenses, let's disrupt the progressions as fast as we can. However we do that, let's try and get in his face. Let's start physically beating up these receivers as best we can. And I think that the more that has started to occur, the more it has kind of thrown off that rhythm that they were in. And because of that, you're starting to see the offense have some trouble. They'll have to spend the bye week trying to figure out how to adjust to some of that.
Yeah, but you talk about some of the lack of maybe some physicality and people getting beat up on.
Mm-hmm.
When Dallas runs the ball, they like beat up on you with the way that Williams.
That opening drive, they were moving people.
Yeah. I mean, it was 8-9 yards a pop on the opening drive. Yeah. And then they moved away from pretty quickly. Yeah. And in a lot of instances, they've had to in some of these games because they're not able to get stops. And it's like you got to start keeping up a little bit. Yeah. But, I mean, it's been – This was frustrating. You were allowing consistently, like especially in the first half, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 14.
No question.
And the other thing tonight that Dak was not perfect. Dak was not. There were too many times where Dak probably didn't do enough. I think there were other times Dak was bailing you out in certain situations. But man, your hands were not good tonight. Whether it's fumbling the football or dropping passes or just not finishing catches that you should make, that is just. Securing the football seemed to be a problem for them on offense tonight.
Yeah, Scooney had a big drop early. Turpin had a big drop. Ferguson with the fumble.
Ferguson with not a drop, but should have caught it on the goal line.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you get any trade insight before we let you out?
No, Jerry's not. Jerry is shutting all that down. He's not talking about any of it. Okay. He says specifically he has an agreement with the team that he's not going to talk about it. Said the trade could not be finished until tomorrow.
Okay.
But says he also doesn't want to leave them vulnerable to other teams potentially picking up Colin.
Yeah.
But he did say that he said there's no trade yet. He said but there's one I could make and I'm leaning towards doing it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Bob. We appreciate you, bro.
I love you all.
Love you more. There he is, Bobby Belt, our Dallas Cowboys insider here, the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys here in the Miller Lite Field Club. We will hear from Jerry Jones momentarily. We got Bryan Schottenheimer as well, but right now we've got the legend himself, Brad Sham, the voice of your Dallas Cowboys. And Brad, we were just talking about that offense. I mean, I feel like defensively, we can talk about that with you, but offensively, I really did not think that they would struggle this much tonight. No disrespect to Arizona, but I felt like that was the side of the football we were really confident in.
Well, I would agree, and I'm not as smart as you guys, so I'm not prepared to talk about play calling or whether tendencies were being shown or anything. I didn't think the pass protection was great. They did run the ball pretty well the first time. Now, for all of you who say be aggressive and never kick. One of the old adages in football is any possession that ends in a kick is a good thing. So, if it's 1 yard to go or 2 yards to go, okay. But to me, it's like chasing points early in the game. Take 3 points and deal with that and move on. Later on, there will be times. But that's not what lost them the game.
Yeah.
I thought the protection, and we won't know till we look at it, but I thought the protection was spotty.
Yeah, the eye test could tell you it was not good.
That's right, and that's why
Arizona is a team that doesn't get a lot of pressure. And they had 5 sacks tonight.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah,
and I thought both tackles struggled, and Steele struggled more, and that's why he got replaced.
Sure.
And I can't really tell you about the interior 3 until I look at it. I know they all had some moments that were pretty good. Williams ran hard, but I mean, Pickens got 1 ball in the first quarter, 1 ball in the second quarter, was not targeted in the third quarter, and some of that was they didn't have enough possessions, and then you guys just talked about it, drops and penalties. Right. They didn't actually have a lot of people. Had like 6 penalties, but they were very ill-timed. Mm-hmm. They were all backbreakers. And so that is, on one hand, the sign of a bad football team, that you do that, and then it's also something that you're not good enough to overcome.
Man, I just feel like Brad and Zach, I feel like this team, especially defensively, it's just got so many different pieces the way it was put together.
Yeah.
And listen, and I'm saying this in a way of a Dan Quinn, a Mike Zimmer, a Matt Eberflus. It's just it's a team that really on defense lacks any kind of, and if help me with the word, Brad, cohesion, of ability. I mean, when you look at it like it's built different ways. And it's not built like with one defense in mind.
Well, that's not an unfair comment, but I would also say this: they knew what was going to happen when they traded Parsons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but they did not.
I will disagree with you on that. I'll disagree with you.
Well, I mean, but by knew what was going to happen, they knew they weren't going to have anybody like him to rush the passer.
If they should have made that trade before the draft.
They weren't thinking about it before the draft. They had no intention of it before the draft.
Well, then you shouldn't make the trade.
Well, that
you shouldn't make the trade. If you're going to make the trade the week of the draft,
we're at the middle of the season, and that is not going to help you figure out what's going on now. My opinion is that uncharacteristic of how he has operated most of the time, Jerry got his feelings hurt. And that's why they made the trade, and they didn't make it earlier because it was not on his radar. It was never what he intended to do.
Well, if that the case, then why was it so hard for them to sign him?
Well, you don't know what the agent was doing. I don't think they were ever going to. I don't think they were ever going to get in a conversation until Garrett, Max Crosby, and the guy in Cincinnati. All signed.
Yeah, he did the $19 million for 1 year.
For 1 year.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the agent was going to ever be serious about it until all those guys signed. They didn't want to be the ones to set the market.
I would have held the player's feet to the fire when he said, "I will sign for $35 million."
That's fine. I don't disagree, and I'm not sure I would have traded him. Mm-hmm. But my point is, it's now November 3rd, and that was months ago that they made that deal. So what are we looking at now? When I say they knew what was going to happen, they knew they weren't going to have somebody who was a real game changer to rush the passer. What they did not expect was that Sam Williams would have a bagel for the year.
Yeah. Sure.
They did not expect that Dante Fowler, who had 13.5 sacks. Now, Dante Fowler, all you have to do is look at his record. He has never in his career had two statistically good years in a row.
Okay.
But 5 or 6 would be fine. Mm-hmm. And I would say, except for 2 games maybe, tonight being one where he made a play or two, he hadn't been a factor. I don't care if they say he leads in pressures.
No, you're right.
He has not been a factor.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't expect that.
Yeah.
And I think that they overestimated. Now, these are all, when you say it's on the front office, that's fair, but in this regard, they overestimated how long it would take, or underestimated how long it would take Ezeraku to become what we're now seeing.
Yeah.
Now he's going to be that guy. But they thought it would happen faster. They thought they'd get something out of Williams and Fowler. They've got nothing out of either one. So now you've got Bupkus out there. Nealon had the first sack of the year.
Yeah,
then he got hurt. And I think of him as a DeMarcus Lawrence starter kit anyway, but not
Maybe
as a
not
pass
that
rusher.
Good.
No, but not that good, but not as a pass rusher. I think he's a run player.
Defender. Yeah.
So, all right, now Ezeraku and Clowney are giving them the best play that they've had all year. And we're halfway through the season, so that's a miscalculation by them. They clearly miscalculated on Murray and Sanborn, clearly.
Yep.
And they, going into the year, I can't believe they thought they were solid at corner. Because
that's true.
Because Diggs, we didn't know what Diggs was physically. We didn't have any idea when we'd see Revel. And they rolled the dice on Elam and hoped. And I'm told that even now, Elam does things in practice well that he doesn't carry to the game.
Yeah.
That's probably why Buffalo drafted him in the first round and wound up trading him. So everybody had to know their corner situation was bad. And they overestimated a couple of the linebackers, and they overestimated what they would get from the defensive ends. So while I think what you're saying about Hodgepodge and Zimmer and Q, I think that is a fair observation. And at the same time, I think the fact that the players aren't good enough is more important than the fact that the scheme doesn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard my conversation with Aikman before the game.
No, absolutely.
No, and I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, to me, the team is the players that they have. The players that they have. Bottom line is they're not good enough. I mean, whether it is a Quinn guy or a Zimmer guy or whoever. I mean, they're just. The defense isn't good enough.
Yeah, look, a good player should be able to adjust to whatever scheme. And I, for those who didn't hear it, when I had a chance to talk to Aikman before the game, I asked him from the point of view of someone who watches the tape and, just knows what he sees, do you have the feeling that there's been some trying to force square pegs into round holes? And I expected him to say yes, and he didn't say that. He said, maybe a little bit of that, but he said mostly I think the players aren't doing what they want them to do. So now that's absolutely in part the fault of the people who pick the players, without question. But in terms of scheme, you can't say Eberflus has done a great job.
No,
but they don't have good players.
That's true.
Now it might look different when Overshone's, but not that different.
Right.
But it'll be different when Overshone's back in the game. It'll look maybe a little different if Rebel turns out to have something. It'll look a little different as Shamar James grows up, but this is just not a good team put together, and they gambled too much and lost on some of those things. And I think for the most part, offensively, the same gambles they took were pretty good. The running back's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pickens, that silly penalty that he got was the first thing he's done all year.
Yeah.
That was like why Mike Tomlin didn't want him anymore.
Yeah.
So I think you can, based on what we've seen, I think that they will go back and in the bye they'll look and see why in 2 of the last 3 games the offense has been unable to overcome some of the things that have been thrown at them.
I wonder if it's at odd fronts that they're having to play.
Maybe.
Teams at 3-4 fronts.
And BB being back should help.
Yeah.
First game back, that should help. They're going to have to they're going to have to figure out offensive tackle.
Yeah.
And I don't envy them that. Guyton just shows you enough to tease you.
Yeah.
And Steele, as we've said, Steele had to be replaced. So you just got to, and here's the real problem is that now you get into the second half of the year and you have some veteran players and they know they're not a playoff team.
Right.
But you've got to go out and approach every game as though winning it matters to get you into the playoffs. And that's a hard thing to do. It's hard for the leaders.
Yeah.
It's hard for the coach. It's hard for the quarterback. It's hard for those players who are, the leaders. And that's when you will really get a test to see when you get into next year which of those guys you want around.
Brad, thank you. Enjoy the bye week. We'll catch up with you again next Monday.
Okay, thank you. Sorry I yelled at you.
No, I love it. I love the fire and the passion.
I yelled at you.
Oh,
It's all right.
You didn't yell at me.
I'm tired.
I'm tired of this BS you're having to call every day. Yeah.
There's the great Brad Sham with us here on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. Let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
All right, more of your calls and texts. We've got Jerry, Bryan, Schottenheimer, Dak at the podium right now. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at Take 5 Oil Change. Just wear your Cowboys gear and save
Pollock is where solved happens. Call 855-239-5153 or visit pollock.com today.
3rd and 17. Prescott back. Throws it left. Ferguson caught it at the 35. Ball is fumbled. Cardinals fumble it and get it back and recover it by Buda Baker at the Arizona 29-yard line.
Yeah, that was one of 3 Cowboy turnovers today as the Cardinals get the win here on Monday Night Football. 27-17. Postgame show rolls on. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus here at the Miller Lite Field Club. Dak Prescott talking right now. He sounds about as defeated as I've ever heard Dak at the podium right now.
Yeah, he's talking about his mom. So, it's... how he's, I think it's the 12-year anniversary.
Yeah.
If that's
an
anniversary. I'm sorry, I don't know the right word.
Well, just the date.
The date of, and he's talking about how how blessed
it's a heavy
he
heart.
is. Yeah, how blessed he is to play this game, and how much the time he spent with her, and how much it meant to him and stuff. So yeah, it's an unfortunate way to finish his day, a difficult one on a couple of different fronts.
And he certainly, he got hit a lot tonight, and I know Bobby was showing us some video of him limping into the locker room. So I'm sure the week off, might help him in terms of recovery, healing the body as they come out of the bye, go on the road to Vegas and take on the Raiders. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text, 877-881-1053. I know a lot of you have been waiting patiently. We will get back to the phones, but let's hear from your Cowboys owner and general manager, Jerry Jones, after this 27-17 defeat.
Jerry, how did you start off today by saying that you had a trade ready to go?
Yeah.
Do you have a trade still ready to go?
We still can, yes.
Was it dependent on this outcome?
Again, understand what I said. Absolutely, we did. We'll see how tomorrow goes. So today was all about tomorrow. You shouldn't do anything. You should wait and see what we do tomorrow.
Jerry, how disappointed are you tonight?
Tremendous. Disappointed obviously for our fans. Thought we would play better than this. They just came out and they had a good game plan. Cardinals did. Very disappointing. About all I can say about it.
Troy Aikman said that maybe you should consider not making a trade now based on what he saw tonight. Does this change your opinion at all?
Again, I hear opinions, and you can rest assured that, at least through my mind, that all those considerations are there. It was there before this game. It was there when we started the season about whether you make a trade or not. But what's got this on point is tomorrow's our trade deadline.
Jerry,
we've either got to or get off the pot by tomorrow afternoon.
Jerry, do you expect a number of changes at the bye week for you guys?
What?
Do you expect a number of changes at the bye week for you guys?
Again, I realize we have a bye. As far as numbers of changes, when you say personnel, you're limited on what you can change. To some degree, we've got an opportunity because we've got a trading deadline to look at possible trades. We'll look at that in light of everything that we've looked at since training camp, since right now. We'll sit down here and see what tomorrow brings, and tomorrow does include tonight, for sure.
What was your biggest takeaway from this game?
Excuse me?
Biggest takeaway from this game?
Our turnovers and our mistakes. And those are tough to overcome. And then I thought once we got in a situation where they could pin their ears back, then it was tough to block.
Jerry, you mentioned personnel
could change your approach.
Again, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that tomorrow's our trade deadline. There's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't talk about tomorrow, because we've got competition out here relative to trades we might have considered.
Jerry, why say that you had a trade done?
Who?
Why would you say that you had a trade done earlier today?
Because everybody knows it's subject to tomorrow. You can't have a trade done if you haven't gotten it done. Okay? So we'll see what goes tomorrow. I told you, and I didn't say. I said we were going to have a trade that'll be consummated tomorrow. That's what I said.
You guys are 3-5-1. You guys are 3-5-1 now. What gives you hope that this thing can turn around?
Well, I don't think I think the very game itself, as long as you're mathematically involved, you should be there to go do it. I'll tell you this: I want to come out here and have a game that we can manage under our terms and get a win, and I think that's good for the end of this year or for any other year you might have. We need to go out and have a plan, execute it. I'm real surprised that we didn't do better tonight, especially offensively, but you can't have those kinds of mistakes, fumbles, and plan on having the kind of outcome you want.
There's your Cowboys owner and general manager, Jerry Jones, after this. And, really, every Cowboy fan listening knows the change that needs to be made starts with Jerry. That won't happen, which leaves you in somewhat of a purgatory as we talk about the personnel and the coaches and what you can change there. The sad thing is, and I do expect a trade to still happen.
Sure.
And I do get the feeling of, well, after this one, is that even smart to do? I'm just all aboard whatever you can do to just add talent on this football team because right now there are not enough good players.
Yeah, the biggest issue, and Jerry can talk about being disappointed and all that and expecting maybe a different result, but, ultimately it does stop with him, and how they put together their team, the decisions that they made, the discussions that, Brad Sham and I just had, kind of walking you through, if you're Jerry Jones,
it all goes back to him.
It all goes back to you, sir. I mean, you are the general manager, and I mean that in no disrespect. I mean that as, when you run the organization and you're directly responsible for how the team looks and what you do for your coaches, hiring the coaches, this is all reflective on you. And so that's the big, he could talk about being disappointed, but he ought to first be disappointed in himself for allowing this to happen the way it has. He got emotional about the Micah Parsons deal. Micah Parsons pushed him into a corner. There's just a lot of things going on. But ultimately, though, he is the general manager, and if there's anybody that needs to be disappointed, he needs to be disappointed in himself because this team, he is directly responsible for this team being 3-5-1.
Absolutely. And all those players you talked about going back to the 70s and the 90s, the one common thread is those weren't Jerry Jones players, right? That was Gil Brandt. That was Jimmy putting these teams together. And I totally get. Well,
Jerry helped some with Jimmy. I mean, as far now, give him credit. He hired
Jimmy.
He hired Jimmy. So that's a great hire.
Absolutely deserves the credit for the hire.
So yeah, but ultimately though, you have to look. And I'm not saying this to be mean spirited. I'm saying it. If I ran, I lived 3, 5, and 11 seasons.
Yeah.
And that still bothers me today, 25 years later. I didn't have that long in the league. I was there 13 years, but those 3 years bothered me more than anything. But I think if you're going to be in this business, you have to say, yes, I'm disappointed, but you need to think about, okay, why am I disappointed? I'm disappointed because I did not do a good enough job.
Right.
That's where this needs to be said right now. Yeah. I did not do a good enough job putting together this defense and helping with the coaching hires.
Yep. And now what can I do to fix it?
Yeah. There you go.
Are you ready to try and learn a new game and invest like the pros? Don't worry. Even the pros were rookies in crypto once. Blockchain.com makes buying, selling, and trading crypto easy. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Fred Davis of 105 through the Fan catching up with Dante Fowler in the locker room. Here's what Fowler and Fred had to say.
Real quick. What happened to you?
You just got the wind knocked out of me on the sack.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just got the wind knocked out of me.
All right, so we talked to your boy JC. He just said, look, man, we're getting close. It seemed like today the pass rush wasn't the issue.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say off of that. We just got to keep playing.
Right.
Keep playing together, camaraderie football, and get off the field on third downs.
Are you guys ready to be done with this trade deadline nonsense talk?
Oh, I'm not listening to it. I don't even know what's going on. I'm not a fan. I'm in this shit. You feel me?
Hey.
I let the fans do all that.
Okay.
I'm actually in this shit. I'm not really concerned about the trade.
So could this bye week come at a better time?
I think it's the right time, just for each other to get their minds right, and be able to hear their bodies.
What's the message? What's kind of the feeling? What are you going to do over? I mean, you're a vet, like you said. You're in this. What's Dante Fowler doing to decompress?
I'm gonna stay here, get treatment on my body, and just look at my past 8-9 games that we played. 9 games, and just see what I can do better to finish the season off strong.
Is it still a playoff team?
Yeah, of course. Just got to fix the little mistakes, and I think we'll be good.
There's Dante Fowler post-game there with Fred Davis. And look, the defensive front, I mean, Fowler had a couple of tackles. The pressure, they did get pressure on Jacoby Brissett. The unfortunate thing was it just seems like whether it's lack of assignment football, talent, There's receivers that are running wide open. I mean, the amount of 7 converted first downs. There's 7 of 9 on third
at one
down
point,
conversions in the first half. Yeah. Arizona was just able to find a way to keep drives alive on third down, and that was the Achilles heel, at least through the majority of this football game until the second half, when really the Cardinals' defense was able to smother Dallas offensively. And the turnovers were huge, the ill-timed penalties, absolutely, a little self-inflicted wounds there. But, yeah, I think, if you're Eberflus, you can call up whatever you want, but I know the execution word gets thrown around a lot. But as I've said throughout the entire season, I just don't know that you, whether it's at safety, at linebacker, at corner, right now, you got the horses to be able to compete.
Yeah, this is the unfortunate thing that where we were talking about the general manager, and you're talking about, okay, where's his roster right now? Where does his and you're looking at, yeah, you could get pressure. You can get in a guy's face, but if somehow the ball gets out and now you're on the back end and you can't cover, and you can't, and guys that you're relying on to be your cover guys are, extremely out of position, playing off, falling down, balance problems, whatever you want to say. It's just, you're looking at this and going, gosh, dang, this was a guy we were relying on, and this guy we were relying on, and this guy we're relying on. And the problem is with this defense, there's not many pieces of the people that they probably sat down with and had meetings. I guarantee you there's front office guys and gals driving home right now hating everything that you and I are saying about this football team.
Absolutely.
But if you're honest with yourself, you will look at this and try and make some sense of it in a way that it doesn't happen again, where, you're in a situation where your team is not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You are not good enough on defense.
No.
You're not. You can't get a stop on third down when you really need it. You can't. You don't always play great run defense. Guys that you evaluated as players that could make a difference and help you play winning football are not. You need to look at yourself, and as much as we look at players and coaches, that front office needs to look at themselves too.
Oh, the front office absolutely needs to look at themselves the most.
Because the misevaluations of what you thought you had at certain positions was absolutely off.
And there's so many layers to it. Whether it's, okay, we like these former first-round picks that were busts on their current teams, but we're going to make a move to bring them in and hope that we can
revitalize their career. You might trade for one tomorrow.
Maybe.
You might trade for one tomorrow.
I mean, like Jonathan Mingo, the trade they made last year. Oh, we liked him. He's now back-to-back games. He's an inactive.
Trey Lance.
Right? Trey Lance is one, certainly, absolutely. Kyrie Elam, the linebackers, Murray's former first-round pick, Sanborn comes over. That's a Flus guy. Unfortunately, he's hurt now, right? I mean, Fowler's one of those guys, and Fowler's given you some productive seasons. Tonight he finally came up with a sack, but outside of the game against the Jets, to have Brad's point, Fowler hadn't shown up.
Yeah.
You got Sam Williams who's chatting on social media to other people in the media. I mean, come on, dude. Why don't you worry about what's going on with your own performance? Sometimes we're worried about the wrong thing. We get worried about the talking heads out here that are telling you how to do your own job, and right, frankly, you're right. I don't have to do your job. I don't know about everything that's going on in those walls behind the scenes. You're 100% correct. What I do know is we're seeing this way too often, consistently year in and year out with this football team. And there doesn't seem to be a plan, and there doesn't seem to be light at the end of the tunnel. And when you're a fan of this team and you're paying money to come and watch them play, and that's what you get to see, and they're booing them in the fourth quarter, it's tough. It's tough. So when you're driving home and you're listening to that, I'm sorry, but I don't know how to sell it positively.
Yeah.
And fans, that's the last thing they need to be, is lied to. And I think that happens a lot more than people really want to be honest with themselves over there. There's a lot of BS that comes out of that building. A lot of fluff. All right, let's get back to your phone calls, 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. We got Dak. We got Bryan Schottenheimer, but I promise you we're going to let you sign off. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Throughout time, man has expressed himself through dance. the Charleston, the two-step, and yes, even the Macarena. But few dances have captured the imagination like the...
Texas, blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with blockchain.com and by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Okay, 4th and goal. At the 3, snap is back. He's under pressure. Prescott's going to be sacked. Guyton could not hold the block on Josh Sweat. They've seen each other before. Sweat was one of the big parts of the Eagles' Super Bowl defense last year, and the Cowboys turn it over on downs.
One of 5 sacks Arizona had today. Josh Sweat, boy, he had himself quite a good one as the Cardinals knock off the Cowboys 27-17. here at AT&T Stadium as we are at the Miller Lite Field Club. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus. You just cheered for America's team on the field. Now see them on the reels. Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, now at a casino near you. Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. And do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. This one was tough, man. And I love this football team, and I just want them to win. And, it's we talk about a lot of people, listening and ones that might be mad at us. It's never out of malice. But I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to speak as a diehard and lifelong fan, and that's what I am. And hopefully those listening out there can get some solace in that. And this is just not good enough. When your team's 3-5-1, you're losing to a team that was 2-5 coming in with their backup quarterback, who might be their starter. There's some whispers that maybe Jacoby Brissett has taken this job. I don't know about Kyler Murray's future in Arizona, but that's for their post-game show, not ours. You got some interesting numbers here, though, Bryan, when it comes to some pressures along the line.
Yeah, I was just kind of looking up Josh Sweat, and you're right, he had a hell of a day. But yesterday in the game, if you just go back and look, they had 47 pass block snaps, and this is for the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. Tyler Smith gave up 3 quarterback pressures, 1 sack. Tyler Guyton had 2 quarterback pressures, 1 sack. Cooper Beebe had 2 quarterback pressures, no sacks. Tyler Booker had 2 pressures, no sacks. Terrence Steele had 29 snaps. He gave up 5 pressures, 1 sack. Here's the interesting one. Nate Thomas had 18 pass block snaps, 4 pressures, 1 sack. So he and Steele were both left at on one-on-one blocks about the same amount in this game when it came to the number of the 80. Steele was left by himself 83%, as well as Nate Thomas was. So maybe that thing is not as clear-cut. We've all kind of been talking about Nate Thomas stepping in. Maybe things, if he played the whole game, might be a little bit different. But just right now, he had 18 reps, and 4 of them ended up in pressures, and 1 of them ended up in a sack. So, by the way, let's also tip of the cap, too, to Williams at running back. He had 10 pass blocks.
Oh, he was cracking people.
He was by himself 90% of the time. 10 pass block reps. He had no pressures, no sacks from your running back. 10 opportunities. So, a tip of the cap to him. Boy, he is a well-rounded player when you look at the big scheme of things.
All right, let's get back to the phones. Thank you so much for your patience. We love you. Let's go out to Big Jim. What's up, Jim? How are you, man? Thanks for staying up late with us.
Well, fellas, it's good to talk to you. Just sitting here with my own coon dog, and we're lamenting the evening, and I might be sipping on something. But I won't say. It's very frustrating. This game actually the past couple of games reminded me, I guess, 4 years ago when Vic Fangio brought his, was the Denver Broncos in there. Remember how he talked about having the blueprint on the Cowboys, and they started playing that umbrella coverage. Defenses get smarter. These guys get smarter. They figure out how to play things. But one thing I was wondering about, I know that we've had a couple of weeks when Schottenheimer's spent more time with the defensive staff. And I just don't think it was a good. I don't think it was a good game plan. Certainly from the play calling on the offensive side, it was off. They were out. Usually these guys have been in sync, and there were several times tonight where they were out of sync. And it looked like to me that they were just. They looked slow. You guys, Turpin, when he'd return those kicks, he was just jogging. He was just jogging. And I know he's waiting to see the hole and go hit it. Same thing with your receivers and Lamb. Just a little, and everyday Troy commented on it, saying you gotta, he's kind of lazy a little bit. I tell you, the guy you can count on. He got the penalty, but Bull Pickens. Yeah. If it was me, Broaddus, I go back to that Green Bay game when we played them up there, and you said you gotta have a wide receiver you can go to on the 4th down. Yeah. Remember that? That burned in my mind. You got your guys, Pickens. Pickens would, I think, you got to get that guy open. And, Man, it's just real disappointing. And I tell you what, I'd think twice before I'd invite Stephen A. to come sit in my box again. And anyway, fellas, we'll talk at you later, and I'll keep listening. And let me know, Pooch here. We'll call a morning when y'all finish.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate the call as always. That opens up a line 877-881-1053 on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. We got our guy Walt in Waco. What's going on, Walt?
Hey, Zach, Bryan, love you both. Producer, don't ever put me after Big Jim, man. That's some big shoes to fill. So, quick question and a commentary. So, you guys make it harder and harder to ask a question the longer I listen because you answer them all.
I'm sorry.
But, no, I've heard Jerry go off twice, like lose his cool twice on the fan. And I feel like one of them was directed at Kevin Hagelin, but the most recent one to the morning show, Bobby and Friends. About what week was that happened? Do you guys remember? It was like last year or the year before?
It was about this time last year.
Okay, so I don't know that Jerry's going to do that again, but last year when it happened, I was making sure I was listening because I just knew it was coming, and I'm like a terrible bettor. So if I ever tell you to bet something, bet against it. I knew that morning Jerry was going to go off. But, no, listening to him in the postgame, man, I don't think I have ever heard him say tomorrow more times. I don't think he's ever told me to watch the Cowboys in the future before because he's never had to. This was a different postgame from Jerry. He was all about tomorrow. He was selling me on why to watch the Cowboys tomorrow. You don't have to sell me because I'm one of you. I'm a homer, man, through and through. I'm part of the problem.
Yeah.
Jerry was selling us on why to watch the Cowboys tomorrow. I've never heard him have to sell the Cowboys because it sells itself. So this is saying something right here, and that's what I have to say.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Walt. I mean, we got a text in from the 682. I was at the game tonight. Utter embarrassment. I'm 34 years old, and I'm finally tearing away from being a fan. DFW sports in general right now is awful.
Yeah.
I hear you, 682. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I'm the same age. I'll never stop loving and watching this football team. It's not an option. It's not a choice. I don't know anything else. It's not like I can just, I'm going to pick it and be a Chiefs fan today, or I'm going to go ahead and be a Broncos fan. It's not like an either-or thing. And that's why, to me, it is. It's disheartening, and you're always looking for hope. I feel like hope is the number one thing you need as a fan. And right now, as you try and just reach out for something, there's really nothing to grab onto. And that's a terrible feeling as a Cowboy fan. There really, really is. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. Right, that opens up another line. Let's get to Texas Tweet in Fort Worth. How you doing, man?
What's up, Brian? What y'all doing, man? I'm just over here mad as hell. But let me tell you something. Why, Matt, Schottenheimer, man, he is fitting himself. Man, like in the first week, he played Marty ball. He ran the ball, made that. Everybody knows if Dak don't have a running game, if he throw the ball 30, 40 times, we're going to lose. Run the ball, take your field goals. And actually, Brian, the defense didn't look as bad as they did, but we at least got pressure and they blitzed more. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He needs to be humble and Scotty needs to stay humble, man, and keep that from throwing the balls all the time. What y'all think?
Well, I will say this about the defense. I mean, there's been times where they have got pressure. That's how you were going to beat Jacoby Brissett. So some of the stuff later in the game maybe affected him a little bit more. But you were so bad on third down. I mean, and it wasn't like bad like 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2 bad.
It was 3rd and long.
It was 3rd and just chunk after chunk. And so to me, is that scheme, coach, player? I think it's a little of everything for you right now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's so disheartening to know that if a quarterback has just the ability to get rid of the football on a 3rd down and long, that there's a chance a better, and let's be honest, the Arizona Cardinals coming in this game were right around a 45% first down or 3rd down converting. So they're a good converting team. But, man, if you're doing it at 12 and 13 and 15 and 17 yards, I don't have any hope for that. I have no. I mean, I don't care, but they just do not. They do not cover when they need to cover. They don't. Was it the old complimentary football?
Complimentary football.
When they get pressure, they don't cover. When they cover, they don't get pressure. I mean, it's just their defense is in a bad spot right now.
And that is a frustration.
And the offense wasn't much better today too.
No, your offense. I mean, neither side really picked up the other. You know that you don't have that. I mean, at least I guess the offense kept you in games.
We just automatically now assume that they're playing a home game and they're going to score 30 points.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just automatic that we're going to, oh, wow, we're playing at home and they score 40 points a game, and you probably knew you were going to lose the game today when that guy missed a 69-yard field goal, you know?
Yeah. I was thinking Bailey was going to just crush it right down the middle, boom.
Aubrey, Bailey.
I said, wow,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. Dan Bailey.
Yeah.
Dan icing his balls, Bailey.
Yeah.
Butter Aubrey. Shout out to Plano.
Yeah.
I thought Aubrey was going to just nail that. And the leg was there. Just hooked it.
Just hooked it a little bit.
Just hooked it. All right, let's go out to Big Surge. Big Surge, what's going on, man? Appreciate you calling in.
Solo, baby. Shout out to all the Solos on the Twitch. Y'all know who y'all are. Hear me out. Dak running his life for the past 2 weeks, man. It's crazy. Defense celebrating simple tackles when it's 27-10. You're losing to a backup quarterback. Zach, I know you said he's probably the starting quarterback, but I'm just saying what it is.
Yeah, it's
Congratulations for making Marvin Jr. look like Marvin Sr. in the first half. First down after first down. It was just disgusting. We're not one player away, but I don't trust the draft. Give me Max Crosby as a trade that was supposedly made. If not, tear up the trade papers. I don't blame J-Dub for that fumble either, but I can't believe Ferguson at this point. I'm not calling him Fergie because even Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas is better, baby. Stephen A. Smith, he left the booth so he could laugh his way to his ESPN post, man. This team, like you said, Zach, I'm born and raised in Dallas. I have no other choice to be a fan here, but it's just like it's just hard, man. It's hard, man. Let's just thank God it's a bye week, right?
Yeah.
Y'all have fun, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye week, go ahead and try and get things corrected, and we'll see. I mean, do they get some help coming in tomorrow? Whatever possibility of a trade that comes in.
Sure.
But you're right. I get what you're saying. And, look, it does seem like every week there's a new thing that's going on. I know Todd Archer, our buddy at ESPN, said the Cardinals were the only team in the NFL without a drive of 74 or more yards this year. They had back-to-back 74-yard touchdown drives. Yeah. So, I mean, it's first. It's things that –
And watch, Arizona, whoever they play next week, they'll get smashed.
Yeah.
They won't – they'll lose. They'll look bad doing it. They won't – Marvin Harrison won't – he'll have 2 catches. They played Seattle, watching early in the season. They had a ball clang off him, interception. Didn't run the route all the way across, interception. It just teams find a way. Teams just find a way to get right, and then they go away. And then look at Denver yesterday. I mean, I know Houston's a pretty good defense.
But no, I mean, I think John Machota had this stat before this game. Teams the week after playing Dallas score an average, I think it was, of 14.6 points less than what they did the week before. So, I mean, you're the get-right team right now until you're able to change that narrative. Right now, teams are going – I mean, the Arizona didn't run the ball well. They did today.
Yeah.
They weren't having long, sustained drives. They did today.
Yeah.
You gave up chunk plays. You turned the football over. You had bad penalties. I mean, these are all recipes of how you lose football games.
And they did.
And they're tendencies of what bad teams do.
Yeah.
And right now, you're not a good football team, and you've got to find a way to correct this in the second half of the season. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. All right, let's get another one in here before we break. Let's get to Michael in Dallas. Michael, what's going on?
What's going on, Zach? I completely agree with you. Like you, I'm a born and raised diehard from DFW. I mean, like, being a Dallas fan is horrible right now. Fire Nico. To the Cowboys specifically, I wrote down a few notes. I think the season's a wash. We need to completely revamp the defense. I'd only keep 2 players that are starting. Overshown when he comes back, and Izaraku. Everybody else, like you guys have been mentioning, have been completely undervalued. and completely overestimated about how they would perform. Osa has been horrible this year. Deron Bland, I think we're going to trade Diggs, the whole situation with the IR. I think on the offensive end, our offensive line has really fallen off the past couple of weeks, been non-existent. Williams he played great today, great pass blocking. Dak just has no time to throw the ball. And I'd love to know what you guys think about what we should do for the rest of the year. I think Jerry needs to cancel the trade, and we just hang on for dear life the rest of the year and then just kind of revamp everything in the offseason. Thank you guys so much, and go Cowboys.
I appreciate the call. Go Cowboys. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what the trade is. Like, I'm not in favor. If it's Mingo-esque, like you kind of are making a trade to make a trade, and that's not a player that's really going to help you beyond this year, then I get it. I get the frustration if that's – but like I said a couple weeks ago and last week, if this is a player that not only can help you now, but you think also is helping you next year, and you've got so many holes to fill, yeah, I mean, I'll take any good players I can get right now on this football team.
Yeah. What about you mentioned you felt like what was the trade that Albert Breer had in mind for? It was for Wilson.
Oh, Tyree Wilson. You have the Raiders.
What do you think about that one? If you had to, like, okay, what if you did end up with Wilson and Wilson, something like that?
Logan Wilson and Tyree Wilson.
Yeah. Do you feel good enough about a trade like that?
Not great, but yeah, I mean, I think Logan Wilson is.
I watched Logan Wilson play. I kind of felt like he was somewhat similar to what you had. I liked Williams, the linebacker from the Jets.
Quincy Williams.
I like Quincy Williams
he
more.
He can cover, right? I don't know about. I think right now you've got an issue with coverage linebackers.
Sure.
And like I think Shamar James, we saw it at Florida. I mean, he can make some tackles in space, and he's a good blitzer. He had a good pressure tonight on a blitz.
That's what he can do. I mean, he's a much better playing forward than he is going back.
Yeah, but right now when it comes to spacing, maybe being in the right place, I think you lack a little bit in coverage. Can Overshown help with that? Maybe. He is a converted safety, but I do think Logan Wilson would be an upgrade for you at linebacker right now.
Right now, he probably would.
He would be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll see. I mean, he is a guy.
But what about? But
Tyree Wilson? That's a project, right? That's a guy that would be similar to.
See,
what
that seems like trading for a guy that we had a high grade on.
That's like Kyrie Elam.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can we? I mean, there's a lot of talent there. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Like I think I'd rather do Jermaine Johnson with the Jets.
Yeah.
Who I think has flashed a little bit more in his pro career.
Chubb too.
Yeah, Chubb. All right, we'll get back to your calls and texts, 877-881-1053. We'll also hear from your head coach and your quarterback. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
From retirement planning to insurance, SWBC has customized solutions to help individuals and businesses. Visit SWBC.
Inspired by these incredible stories of ordinary Americans who did the extraordinary. Get your tickets at mohmuseum.org.
Brissett in the gun, back to throw, pushing the pocket again. They throw it out to Harrison. He stopped at the 31, and he got a first down on 3rd and 14. Wow.
There it is. 3rd and 14. I mean, third down was a really big problem tonight for the Cowboys as they fall 27-17 at home to Arizona. It'll be the bye. And then another nationally televised game on Monday Night Football.
Can they flex that thing yet?
Crazy. We're in November. It won't be flexed. The ratings are just too good. They're not going to.
We don't start flexing things until December, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance maybe Sunday night they host Minnesota.
Yeah.
Maybe that one.
I'm just being real negative right now.
There's not a whole lot of reason to be positive. Yeah. Typically, I like to be glass half full. I can't find a reason to be. And then you get, it's amazing the suggestive hearing that we have with some people. And you shouldn't go down the rabbit holes that is the Twitter. Because I think anybody that is saying that we don't criticize and call out Jerry or Steven or anybody that's a decision maker clearly has not listened to the post-game show.
Sure.
But,
I just had that discussion with a gentleman.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yet this guy, George, with a bunch of numbers that has, like, Dak Prescott on his profile that just likes to complain, like, oh, you don't ask hard questions.
Yeah.
Dude, all right. I mean, a lot of people like to talk big on social media, the keyboard warriors out there. Nobody's happy right now. Sure. I'd love nothing more than to be able to talk about the glorious and great job that everybody's been doing when it comes to constructing this football team. Unfortunately, there's a lot of flaws, and there's a lot that needs to be fixed if it's going to ever change and go in a positive direction. So 3-5-1, that's what the Cowboys are looking at right now. Post-game show brought to you by the all-new National Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington brings us stories.
How about your losses, by the way?
Yeah, they're bad. Well, I mean, look, Carolina and Chicago.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's all good. I'll finish it. Brings the stories of America's greatest heroes to life through virtual experiences and exciting interactive technology. Plan your visit at mohmuseum.org. I agree. I think Chicago and Carolina are teams that are in the hunt. But overall,
when you were playing them during the season,
their games they should have won.
Carolina. I mean, the Chicago game coming off 2 losses, right?
Yeah.
And then you let them do that, and then Carolina, you decide you just don't want to play run defense that day.
And then you missed an opportunity to beat Green Bay.
Yeah.
You end up tying there.
Sure.
You missed an opportunity to beat Philadelphia in the opener. You had a chance to win that game.
Yep.
So there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas, and then there's some bad L's along the way against teams that you really didn't think that you would lose to.
Nope.
All right, let's hear from Bryan Schottenheimer after this one.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Your thoughts on the start of this game? It looked like you guys didn't have a lot of energy from our perspective. I don't know how you felt being on the side.
I thought the first drive looked pretty energetic by us offensively. I didn't think that we did a good job of finalizing that drive. I thought we moved the ball right down the field pretty well, and unfortunately couldn't get it in. And wanted to be aggressive there. Felt good about the calls down there. We just weren't able to get it done. But I didn't sense that.
Defensively, you said subtle changes, major changes. What did you think of the defense overall?
I thought first and second down we were awesome. I thought we did a really good job on first, second down. I thought we affected the passer. I know we had 5 sacks. I thought some of the 5-1 stuff that we did was really good, very effective. Our biggest problem on defense was third down. We just struggled to get off the field on third down. And, conversely, when they got in the red zone, we weren't able to get them to kick field goals. So we got to be better. I think this game came down to really 3 things. The giveaway takeaway battle, which we were not very good. We were loose with the ball all day, -3. You're never going to win games in this league being -3, and really the last one doesn't count, for Dak. He's just launching up there on 4th and forever. And then situational football. We weren't able to sustain enough drives because we weren't very good on third down, and they did a good job, and they converted some thirds and longs.
Clarence Hill, DLS Cowboys. You've been bad on third down all year, last in the league coming into the game. What's been the problem on third down?
Yeah, different reasons. For most of the game, it was not, or most of the season, it's been, not being able to get pressure on the quarterback. This game, I just thought there was some big voids that they were taking advantage of. I thought Marvin Harrison played played really well. They obviously were trying to get him involved, and they did that. But again, I just felt like that, without studying the film, there were some big voids. And again, we just got to look at it. But I thought the pass rush was really good, and again, they did a better job protecting on third down than we did offensively. So now I got to look at that.
There's so much talk at trade deadline tomorrow. Jerry talked earlier today about making a trade. Will a trade help you at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware of the trade, but, I'm going to Clarence stick to the game right now, and we'll have more time to talk about that tomorrow.
Bland, he played more outside than a couple of weeks ago. You moved into the slot. Can you talk about the decision to play him outside? Was it Bill Harrison, or what was the decision later?
Yeah, we like the matchup, and Duran's a great player, and he's a guy that we really trust. And I think the one touchdown he slipped and fell. That happens sometimes, but yeah, that was part of the plan. We knew where Marvin played. He was going to play split end quite a bit, and we felt good about the matchup.
Bryan, Todd Archer with ESPN. Fourth quarter, chance to make it a 2-score game, and you went for it on fourth down. Can you kind of walk us through the decision there?
Yeah, I mean, Todd, we were going to be aggressive all game. I mean, that was part of the deal. And like I've told you guys, if I like the call, I'm going to go. And I trust our offense. But we didn't make the plays tonight. And that comes, same thing in the red zone. The first drive of the game, felt really good about the call. We didn't get a chance to execute it, but we were going to go into this game and be aggressive because we felt like it was going to give us the best chance to win.
As you go to the bye week, does it come at a good time? Does it come at a bad time? How do you view it?
I mean, it comes when it comes. We got a lot of work to do. I challenge the guys. We got to find solutions. We sit where we sit. There's a lot of things for us to look at, a lot of things for us to learn from. I do think that the defense did some good things today, and 5 sacks for them. But we turned around and were not very good on offense protecting Dak, and took too many hits today. That can't happen, and it's something that we got to look at why.
Bryan Schottenheimer following a 27-17 loss to Arizona's right offensive line today, giving up a lot of pressure. Dak got hit a lot. The Bland matchup on Marvin Harrison Jr. obviously didn't go as they hoped. But I mean, look,
the numbers will tell you that too. I mean, just look, and I mean, just look at Bland overall.
Yeah,
36 coverage snaps. He was targeted 11 times, 9 receptions, 144 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pass defense, 2 tight window targets. That was it. He was targeted 31% of their snaps.
Jeez.
So they obviously felt like that they could go after him. They also felt like that they could go after Marquise Bell, because in 34 coverage snaps, 4 targets, 4 completions, 47 yards, 1 touchdown. So that's they went after him that way. They also went after Bridges a little bit too in this game.
Yeah, Bridges.
They
I
took
felt
Bridges
like he
off
was getting picked on until they took him off the field.
Took him off the field, but yeah. So, that's unfortunate. They basically said, your best corner, we're going to attack. We don't feel he's that good of a corner. That's not good.
And I don't know who else they could have put over there on Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, I think the result probably was going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're looking at right now. All right, 877-881-1053. We'll hear from Dak Prescott. We'll get back to your calls. Well, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification across the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
You're turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
Your calls and texts, plus we'll get hear from Dak Prescott, more locker room from the audio, and our drive of the game. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Miller Lite, the legendary light beer. The originator, the inventor. If this beer could talk, it'd tell stories about that.
Pepsi, proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Brought to you by AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Pepsi. Whether tailgating at the stadium or grilling at home, on game day, Cowboys fans deserve Pepsi. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. The islands of the Bahamas. It's not one island. It's a lifetime of them. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
And now the Cowboys go quickly on first down. Fade left side of the end zone. Flournoy got behind everybody. Touchdown Cowboys. 10:51 to play. Don't go to sleep yet.
Hey, Ryan Flournoy scored a touchdown. That was our drive of the game. 7 plays, 78 yards in 2 minutes. Gave him some hope there with 10:51 left to go.
Some hopium.
In the fourth quarter, 27-17. Ryan Flournoy with the only offensive touchdown of the night. But that would be it. That would be the final score. As Arizona goes on to win by 10. They improved to 3-5. Cardinals knocking off the Cowboys as they fall to 3-5-1. Here was Dak Prescott taking to the podium.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. Last time you were here, you were coming off a big win against Washington. Since then, you've lost 2 games, double-digit losses. Offense scored just 13 points against the last 2 weeks. First-team offense. How disappointing is it where you guys stand right now?
Yeah, very disappointing and disappointing, very frustrating. Knowing that you're better than that and going out there and not putting a performance close to your standard or even the expectations or what you thought you could do and expected to do against this team, and credit to those guys. That's the beauty of the NFL. Like, games, play, stats, none of that's done on paper. You've got to go out there and you've got to earn it that night with everything taken into account. And they kicked our ass and both sides of the ball. Limited the possessions early, but I mean, we don't score on the first drive, don't score in the red zone. The next drive, I think 3-4 and out. Then we fumble when we're going to get a field goal, and then they were trying to kick a 70-yard field goal to even get points before half. That makes it tough, and then try to make adjustments in the second half. But when you're down like that in the NFL game, we still had a chance, and then we didn't take advantage of the opportunities and the moments that we had in the second half. Very frustrating.
What's happened with the rhythm on offense? You guys were going so well, you were going so well, and it seemed like the last 2 weeks you guys have not been able to get anything going.
If I had that answer, we wouldn't be struggling, to be honest with you, and not to leave it at that, but that's what this bye week's for. We've got to figure it out. We've got to figure out how we need to improve, obviously, in all phases of the game. I mean, special teams did a hell of a job tonight getting us a touchdown. That was the only spark, I think, in the game for the most part, especially in the first half. And that's what this bye week's going to be all about. Me personally, hope everybody on this team individually, and I know for sure as a staff and an organization, it's going to be about how can we improve and fix these last 2 weeks that are nowhere close to anything that we want to be.
Dak Prescott with ESPN. How are you feeling physically? You took some shots, it seemed.
I'm fine. Little ankle roll at the end of the first half, but that's fine. Going into a bye week, I'll be more than great. I mean, I finished the game and was fine on it, so it's not even anything to have concerns about. And then with the extra time, I'm fine. Body's great.
Did their pressure surprise you in any respects? I think you were pressured more tonight than you had pretty much in any other game.
I mean, I know that they had a plan. Watching the film, that they didn't send anything that they haven't done before this season. Obviously, heated us up more than they have other opponents. But that just plays into how they wanted to play us with their junky coverages, making me, wait another little half a second, and that was crucial, right? While they got to the spots and. That half a second, me having to get off the spot, the pressure getting home, force some missed throws and some plays that we normally make, whether it be me or the receivers, we weren't able to capitalize on it. So they got us there.
Is that what happened on the fourth down throw to CD on the Cardinals sideline? Or were you expecting CD to turn quicker to be available to you? You held it for maybe a little longer than maybe you wanted to.
I held it?
I don't know if you held it or you're waiting for CD.
If I held it any longer, I would have been completely sacked. So I think that was one of those, you're playing against the pass rush and knew I was going to take a hit, sat there, let it go, try to anticipate it. Yeah, it's one of those plays and routes. It's not to point the finger, blame on anybody. You kind of give a guy a little bit of freedom on his depth and how he can, take the defender a little bit further. And unfortunately, that was 4th down. I had to throw it a little early, probably. I got up asking what happened, honestly, and so I probably left a little bit of error on it, I guess. And at the end of the day, we just didn't make the play.
There's Dak after this one.
Yeah, Dak tonight faced zone coverage. 94% of his dropbacks in this game. He was 22 of 36 for 235, an interception, quarterback rating of a 68.6. They only saw man coverage about 6% of the time. So that was probably something, that their zone numbers were right at like 71%.
Wow, they ran it way more than they typically had.
Way more than they did that. And also, too, they were much better. They blitzed him in zone coverage. They blitzed him about 29% of the time, got 15 quarterback pressures off that. In man coverage, they blitzed him 33% of the time and got no quarterback pressures. So here's Arizona's plan. We talked about it coming in. It was they want to rush 4. So they did a really good job of handling you with their blitz, in zone coverage is what they were able to do.
Yeah, and then they had
15 pressures. 15 pressures when they played zone coverage, and 0 pressures when they played man. Wow.
Sweat had a great game. Walter Nolan, the rookie, had a big play
First
in the first
time
drive.
out, yeah.
So certainly, yeah, their front got after it today. Tonight's game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys here at AT&T Stadium was brought to you by AT&T. Connecting changes everything as the Cowboys fall 27-17. Let's get back to your phone calls. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus. We've got Gentry calling from Amarillo. Gentry, what's going on?
How's it going, guys? I know a lot of talk about third down defense, which I agree was awful, but Coach says that they were decent on first and second down, and right out of the half we give up 50 yards on a cross route, and then the exact next play we give up 20 on a little handoff to the right. They're awful. The defense is awful, and I'm with you guys that I have no other choice to root for anybody else. I'm always going to root for them. I love them, but as I get older, I'm 30 now, and I've been a Cowboys fan my whole life. And are we ever going to be good? Or are we ever going to do what it takes to be good? Or are we just going to always say, this is our year, and then we're 9-7, 9-8 every freaking year. So that's what I got for you guys. I know third down was bad, but really every snap was bad on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Gentry. Yeah, it's I'd like to say eventually, but I don't know, man. It is sad. There's as you're 30. I mean, there is a multiple now generations of Cowboy fans that have not seen them even playing in an NFC Championship Sunday. I don't know. Something drastically is going to have to change. You'd think just law of averages. Eventually, you'll get lucky, but who knows? Yeah, there's a lot that needs fixing here. Let's go out to Houston with Eric. Eric, what's up?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I'm 51. I've been a Cowboys fan since the late 70s. Most of my family's a Texans fan, and they want me to switch over, but they haven't done any better in the last 20-plus years either. But, Jerry's good at selling the team. He's not good at putting the team together. I'm like, I can't switch. I'm loyal to the Royal Dallas Cowboy for life, and like you said, law averages, but it's been 30 years now, and I just don't see this team making the playoffs. And every time I watch a Cowboys game, I can't take my blood pressure because, it gets really high. Thank you for taking my call. Bye.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you. That opens up another line, 877-881-1053. Paul in Wisconsin's been waiting patiently. Paul, how are you?
I'm hanging in there. Wisconsin, Racine, home of Kringle. I'm sure Broaddus has had it. I don't know if you've had it, but maybe I'll send some to your way.
That'd be awesome.
You'll get good. Yeah. A few things here, just a couple points to be made. Coaches, Schottenheimer and Eberflus. Schottenheimer, I hate to say it, he just seems like a guy who's just happy to be a head coach. And he's more interested in that than he is about changing the culture. And my example for that is Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell has willed the Detroit Lions to really an elevated status in the NFL. And I think it was part of it where he was just like, came in and just said, I'm tired of being, of Detroit being a doormat. And I just don't see that with Schottenheimer. I think he's just real happy to be a head coach. Eberflus, I know it's been talked about that, he's got bad players to work with and they lost Micah. But I'll go back to what I said a few weeks ago. Whatever he's selling, they're not buying.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the talent isn't real great, but you would think that if he was a good coach, they would at least be decent, talent notwithstanding. When it comes to Dak, I'll go back to what I said a few weeks ago. I like Dak. I think he's an above-average quarterback. But tonight was a game, like I said a few weeks ago, he never wins a shootout game where he has to put the team on his back and carry them to victory. He never does that. He never does that. Tonight was a prime example of that. And finally, as far as the Cowboys, I'm a lifelong Cowboy fan, lived in Wisconsin my whole life. And let this sink in. It's been 30 years since the Cowboys had any significant success. And in that 30 years, every team in the NFC, now think about this, every team in the NFC except the Cowboys has made it to the NFC Championship game. Let that sink in.
Yeah, it has, Paul. It's very, very much so sunk in. I can't stand it. I hate it. And the cause of that problem, here's the thing with the Lions comp. Brad Holmes as the GM has had a lot to do with that too.
I was just looking at their roster, and you look at where those guys were taken, like Jamison Williams was drafted, first round in 22. Amon-Ra St. Brown was drafted in the 4th round in 21. And you look at, let's go down to Graham Glasnow, which he was signed from the Denver Broncos. Then you look at Tate Ratledge, who we watched at Georgia,
second round pick, right?
Second round pick. Penei Sewell was a first round pick. Sam Laporta was a second round pick. Jared Goff they traded for. They just basically the Rams gave up on him. Jamar Gibbs was a first round pick. They signed David Montgomery from the Bears. That's just the offense. That's just the offense. Then drafted Aiden Hutchinson. They have Muhammad, who you had in camp, right?
Yep, Cowboys had him last year.
Street free agent. They've also got like DJ Reader. They got from Cincinnati. Liam McNeil, excuse me. They drafted him in the 3rd round. I mean, they've got Jack Campbell's been good for them. Arnold, Branch, Arnold. These guys fell in their lap. I mean, Arnold fell in their lap. Kirby Joseph was a 3rd round pick. Man, they've done a great job of drafting and trading and signing players. They've done a really, really good job.
Team building. That's a plan.
And they find a way too, with their coaching staff and all. They lose several of their coaches, but here they are, back in the thick of things.
Yeah.
So,
No, and Dan Campbell deserves a lot of credit, but I think Brad Holmes, the general manager, does as well.
Yeah.
And those two together, I mean, usually you've got a good solid group there. If you're going to be, I mean, look at what Howie Roseman's done in Filthy.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't stand him, but what Howie Roseman does every year, he is ultimately trying to win championships. And right now, I do feel like the way that the decision-making is with the Cowboys, it's totally fair to second-guess everything that's going on. All right, more of your calls and texts. We'll also have our defensive stand of the game, what a play of the game. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at Take 5 Oil Change. Just wear your Cowboys gear.
WinStar is the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. WinStar delivers thrills worthy of America's team with over 10,000 of your favorite electronic games. The two-story WinStar Spawn Cascades, their luxury pool complex. WinStar is a world of wow. Please game responsibly. Kenny Clark with that sack. Their Cowboys did get more pressure than they have maybe in any other game aside from the Jets, as they did have 4 sacks today. Clark with 1, Clowney with 1, Donovan Ezeraku, and Reddick Stewart on that corner blitz was able to get 1 late. So all in all, they did get more pressure, but Jacoby Brissett, 21 of 31, 261 yards, a couple of touchdowns. And then Amari DiMercado actually ended up having a pretty good game on the ground with 79 yards, averaging 5.5 a carry. Just not enough. A lot of that going back to that third down defense, as we discussed as well. Just being able to extend drives was an issue today as the Cowboys fall 27-17.
Yeah, just not very good overall.
Got to be able to get off the field there.
Yep.
All right, let's get back to your calls here on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout, Bryan Broaddus. We've got Jerry calling in from Crowley. Jerry, what's up? All right, let's go to Bryan in Denver. Bryan.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it. I'm going to give you a little outside perspective. I remember listening to you first or second week of the season, and you hit the nail on the head, guys. You said at the start of the year, you said this defense is bad, and we're going to have to score 40 points a game to win every game. You remember saying that?
Yep.
And I wrote it down, and I said, I'm going to keep my eye on that. So then I go to the game last week. I saw them in person, and what I saw was a defense that just is slow. They're slower. There's no sense of urgency. And if you're not going to be bigger than the other guy, you got to be faster. Mm-hmm. And they just don't have the speed on defense that you see with a winning defense. So those two things coupled with, here's that, national perspective. I'm just a fan looking up from the outside. Why in the world would you let a transformative player like Micah Parsons walk, which is basically what he did?
Your general manager got mad at him. That's why. The general manager and the owner got mad at him. And he got mad at them.
Yeah.
And that's why. Brad's right. And Brad and I had this discussion, at the beginning of the pregame, the postgame show, is that there was no intent of trading this guy. And Stephen Jones looked at me and Zach Wolchuk and Eric Chiafalo in the eye and said, and Zach asked him, he says, are you going to trade Micah Parsons? He says, no, I have no reason to trade. And that was during training camp. But things got mad, and he got butthurt, and Micah got butthurt, and the next thing you know, then they're shipping him off, and then they're trying to convince us that the run defense is better because they got Kenny Clark. So that's why you did what you did. The owner got mad, and he's probably one day he's going to look back at that and say it was probably one of the stupidest things that he's done is to get mad at that particular player.
Yeah, because the defense is bad, and it's right there in the middle of
it. Might not be much better. It might not be much better with this guy because this guy could probably get pressure.
Yeah.
But we've seen him get pressure, and then they can't cover anybody. That's a bigger issue.
Yeah, like tonight they got pressure, but the back end just could not hold up.
They can't
cover anyone.
They can't cover anybody. And this was something I was worried about. If you're writing down things, I was worried about a team there. It was like worried about the run defense.
Yeah.
I was worried about a team not being able to get pressure and they were going to complete passes on you because you weren't good enough in the secondary.
And that was Arizona's plan clearly from the get-go.
Yeah,
they came out and
they went after Bland.
They ran the ball once and threw the ball 7 times.
Yeah.
It was an air raid. I appreciate the call there, Brian. But yeah, absolutely. And again, that goes back to like a lack of a vision, a lack of a plan. And Jerry takes in, and he says it, right, all of, the opinions, the fans' opinions. And you've talked about that from working in there.
Sure.
And there might just be too many voices. You need somebody, you need just a decisive decision maker that knows how he wants to put this thing together.
Sure.
And right now, maybe it's just you got too many cooks in the kitchen you're trying to appease, to
Well,
your point, all the coaches.
Yeah, he listens.
And that's clearly a problem. You can't – that needs to be changed moving forward.
Well, I think that's the problem that Will has, and I know people are kind of coming at me not coming at me, but making comments about when's Will McClay going to step up and take some of the blame. Will McClay deserves blame. He absolutely does. You know, Will deserves blame. Jerry deserves blame. Steven deserves blame. Anybody that does stuff who helped with this football team being built, if you're worth your salt, you're looking at yourself and saying, we didn't do good enough.
Yeah.
We didn't. I keep bringing up the 3 years I was here when we were 5-11 every year. I wear that. I went to a Super Bowl, been a part of numerous playoff games, been a conference championship teams, divisional championship teams, but those 3 years of my life was the absolute worst because we were terrible at it. We were terrible at doing our jobs. And I just, you can't be a personnel guy or gal and not look at that and say, wow, we made mistakes here. And they've made some big mistakes. But to your point, that's the beauty and the curse of Jerry Jones. The fact that he listens, but he listens too much. It's a curse.
Yeah.
That he has to. And then you got guys that are trying to okay, well, let's make sure that the coaches are taken care of. And wait, the scouts are okay. We got to make sure them. There's too many.
A lot of feelings.
There's a lot of that going on right now. Trying to appease everybody and saying, listen, we're going to do this. You coach the team. We're going to pick the play.
is picked up at the 15 and loose in the end zone, and Marshawn Neeland will cover it for a touchdown.
Yes, there is our what a play of the game. Wow, thought for a second. Okay, here we go. As that just nailed Sam Williams right in the face.
Yeah, he missed it.
On a blocked punt. Our what a play of the game brought to you by Whataburger and the Salvation Army, doing the most good. Recovered in the end zone by Marshawn Neeland. First time the Cowboys have blocked a punt since week 9 of 2021, I believe. And, yeah, it was the 2021 season. They did it, recovered it for a touchdown against Washington. That was December 26th against Washington. It's Sam Williams' second career blocked punt. He did. He had the first one, 2023, against the Rams. It wasn't a touchdown, but it was a blocked punt.
He's also had, I think, some running into the kickers, too. He's got a couple
I think
of those.
Bobby gave us the stat that he's got as many personal fouls as he does career sacks. That's not a great one. That's
not a great one.
Not a great one. Speaking of players that I did think played well tonight, let's hear from Jadeveon Clowney, who got some tape from the locker room.
I'm all right, but we lost. I ain't not good about that. Keep losing. I worked too hard.
I asked your boy Duran, I mean, we're 9 weeks into this, man. Like, is it Fluce's deal? Is it just the communication? I know, but I'm just saying this. No, we ain't trying to point fingers, but I mean, it's Arizona, man.
I know. Look,
I get the NFL team. I ain't trying to,
give them that. Me too. I feel you, but I don't know, man. We got to go back and watch the film. That ain't my job. I'm not the coach. I just try to do my job and bring everybody along or whatever the case may be. Just got to get guys going, and we fell short today. We ain't play complimentary football.
Pass rush looks like it's got finally started to come together a little bit, though. I mean, if there's one silver lining.
We did good today. Like I said, they no point, no finger. Yeah. One day we'll have our days. They had their days. Today we had a good day, but it's a team effort. Ain't no one guy, two guys are doing this. There's 11 people out there trying to do everything, be on the same page, and just missed a few calls today. They got a couple explosive busts to do.
How important is this bye week?
Very important. Guys get their body back, helps we get some guys back after the bye. And just after this loss, you probably need to get away and try to regroup when we come back after the bye.
Appreciate you, big man.
Thank y'all.
Fred Davis with Jadeveon Clowney.
Fred trying to draw everybody off sides.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Nobody wants.
I'm not trying to point fingers, but Eberflus is not doing a pretty poor job.
It's the Cardinals, man. It's the Cardinals.
Yeah. Fred.
Oh, man.
He and Clowney have somewhat of a relationship, right? Went together in Houston?
Yeah, he was in Houston, and Clowney did not remember him at all, but I think after that first interaction, now he's willing to give Fred some time.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
And you know what? Shout out to Fred and Blake, 'cause they'll go in there without fear.
Oh, no.
And just, hey, you want to talk? Cool. If you don't, all right, well, we asked. And then we'll move on to the next one. Cowboys lose 27-17 at home Monday Night Football to the Cardinals. It's now the wee hours of Tuesday morning. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. Let's knock out a couple of these last calls that have been waiting. We've got Michael in DFW heading to Louisiana right now, Bryan Broaddus. Michael, what's up?
Hey, so I was born and raised in Tucson, Arizona, when St. Louis Cardinals were the first team I seen Dallas play on Thanksgiving. That's my earliest remembrance of the Cowboys. Bryan had said something about the fans being, frustrated and upset. 2011, 2022, when Tom Brady was on his last year, I got into a place where I was able to come to every single game for the last 27 games straight. I drive from Louisiana to Arlington. We went 16 straight up until the playoff game against Green Bay. I've seen everything that I could possibly say that I've seen everything. I've seen us win last 2 minutes in New York on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football. I've been at a game in 2003, rode up on the elevator with Jerry and his sons and asking him about that win. I was like, make sure we sign him. Unfortunately, his career was, cut short with a neck injury.
Uh-huh.
I hate to say it, but if Jerry can hear this, I think it's time business is business. And unfortunately, you traded our best defensive player, whether you feel like, hey, we got enough back, you traded our best defensive player to a team that has ended our season twice in the last 10 years. A lot of people say Philadelphia is our, arch enemy. Yeah, Philadelphia makes moves. They've been to 3 Super Bowls, won 2. But I hate to say it, Green Bay, to me, is our worst enemy. Back in the 90s, it was the 49ers. Now it's Green Bay. How do you trade your best defensive player with not having a backup plan? Look, Micah could have been traded this week, and we possibly could have gotten the same amount of talent with Kenny Clark. I think it's time for Jerry to take a hard look and be like, maybe, just maybe, it's time to step back and let Steven take it, Will McClay take it, or make changes. Because Bryan has said this on countless number of times when I'm driving back home with, either a loss or a win. How many players have we drafted on defense that are still on this team? Again, I spend my hard-earned money because I love the Dallas Cowboys. They were there when I was, going through a depression, like Dak Prescott says, ask for help.
Yeah.
If you need help, ask for it. The Dallas Cowboys have always been in my life, always will be. There is no, hey, let's go take this team, take that team.
I feel the same way, man. I appreciate the call, and I think you echo the sentiments, Michael, of a lot of fans that agree with you. I mean, we've all been there as well and seen the L's.
What if I told him that Steven and Will are running the team right now?
Yeah.
The day-to-day operations. How do you think he would feel?
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, and it's been that way for a while.
Yeah, it's I think that.
I mean, Jerry's a decision maker,
right?
But the day-to-day operations is Steven and Will McClay, if you want to look, and what Brian Schottenheimer does.
Mm-hmm.
That's the day-to-day.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, overall, I think it's either time to give Will the title and the say, or bring somebody else in.
Yeah.
But clearly the way that this thing works from the top down, and I don't think it's going to change because the Joneses want it to work their way, and I think they're hell-bent on it until it eventually happens, which might be all of our lifetimes right now. And that's a shame because it's just the stubborn nature of one family. But that's kind of where we're at. And they have the right, they own the football team, they have the right to kind of run it how they want to run it.
Do you have a bigger problem with the way that they draft or the way that they hire coaches?
I think it's the hiring. I think there's been, I think lately we've had an issue drafting.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't think we take hiring coaches seriously enough.
Yeah.
And I think you've got some good fortunes with the offensive line coaches and stuff like that. But I don't think the process of how they go about hiring coaches is really the best way to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I would.
I mean, Dan Quinn was not a guy that they had familiarity with.
No.
Mike McCarthy probably didn't. His buddy Mike Nolan got canned after 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the Joneses probably saying, well, listen, how about this Dan Quinn? And Mike McCarthy probably wanted nothing to do with Dan Quinn, but then he worked with him.
And he ended up being a great hire.
Had some success. I have a bigger problem with the way that the process of hiring coaches than I do the draft.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be very thorough, and a lot of it's comfort.
I just wonder. I wonder if you really, really are thinking about, okay, our team's kind of built this way. Do we need to have a coach that kind of has the same ideas?
Yeah.
About that.
Okay, Flus likes to run a lot of zone.
Yeah.
Do we have zone?
Do we have
corners?
zone players? Yeah.
Or should we pivot and go somewhere else?
See, Zimmer said last year that he's like, man, I should have got to my stuff earlier.
Yeah.
So he tried to do Dan Quinn stuff.
And when he got to his stuff,
Yeah.
it did seem to work better.
It was much better.
It
yeah.
did. All right, let's put a bow on this one. Let's get our player of the game look ahead to the Raiders. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at Take 5 Oil Change. Just wear your Cowboys gear and save 25% on your oil change. No huddle, no overtime. Just drive in, stay in your car, and roll out. You'll be tailgate ready in 10 minutes flat. Keeping up with your car shouldn't be a tough call. Take 5 makes it as easy as...
America
game. They all stunk from the 469. But I do think Donovan Ezeraku was a bright spot tonight. Had himself a sack, tackle for loss, couple of quarterback hits. You can celebrate the Cowboys Christmas extravaganza powered by Reliant at the Star in Frisco.
That's pretty cool, actually.
From November 21st to December 20th. Join us every Friday and Saturday night for an electrifying holiday performance. For details, visit thestardistrict.com. It's awesome. Cowboys cheerleaders are there. Sometimes they'll have players, former players. It's always a blast there at the Star in Frisco. And 27-17, put a bow on this one. Not a whole lot of positives. I think Ezeraku was one. Kenny Clark bounced back. I thought had himself a decent day. Jadeveon Clowney. But, outside of the defensive line, linebackers, safety, corner, we'll see what ends up happening tomorrow, Brian. Did the Gold Phone tell you anything? If Crosby didn't work, I felt like that would be a pivot.
Yeah.
So him and Jermaine Johnson from the Jets, I felt like those were two guys.
I watched Chubb a little bit today, and I think personally Phillips is a better player, but you and I, in our, we did the 2 hours before the pregame show, you were talking about that you thought that Chubb. I don't disagree with you about Chubb. I think,
was he okay?
Yeah, I don't think he's a problem at all.
I think he'd be an upgrade for you, but maybe that. Minka Fitzpatrick. I don't know. I don't know if they want a safety. It just sounded like the Dolphins were open for business.
They should want a safety.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think they got NFL caliber players right now, and at that spot, which is a shame, and that's unfortunate. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. They need a bunch of different moves.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The law firm of Wilson and Wilson.
And if Tyree Wilson comes here, Red Raider fans get excited, and maybe they can catch lightning in a bottle. But they've certainly gone down that path before. It hasn't worked out with guys like Kyrie Elam and Kenneth Murray. Maybe Wilson will be one. And Logan Wilson is a guy that's had success in the league. Maybe he can be an upgrade at linebacker. So we'll wait and see. I believe Jerry's going to be on the flagship Sean and RJ tomorrow morning at 8:30. So if you want to set your alarms and tune into that, maybe Jerry's got some more insight for us.
Trade deadline's on when our show's going on, right? 3 o'clock?
Yes, so we'll be on the G-Bag Nation 2 to 7. You can hear that on the Odyssey app. And, of course, 105throughthefan.com. You can watch us on Twitch, on YouTube, on the flagship, your home of Dallas Cowboys football, 105 Through the Fan. If you are out of market, we'll have all that for you. But a big thank you, of course, to Peyton Russell. Excellent job, Peyton. Kevin Walker, Ross Lipinski, Raymond Cruz doing an excellent job here as well. Of course, Douglas back in Master Control there at the Star in Frisco. Shout out to Douglas doing his thing. And now it's the bye week, so you'll have a weekend free. Cowboys are going to be victorious on the bye, Brian.
Yeah, start watching your college film.
Yeah. I got a couple players down, so, we'll get some more. I think those Ohio State kids could be a fun watch.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, they certainly have a lot of good talent there on defense. But thank you to everyone who's been a part of this one. Unfortunately, the Cowboys didn't get the win, but we love you. We'll be back post-game for the Raiders. Until then, hugs and hand pounds, everybody. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in just a moment.
The ultimate getaway for Cowboys fans, it's waiting in the Bahamas. Trade the field for white sands, the crowd noise for ocean breezes, and discover paradise in Nassau.